And welcome back to another episode of NCP, or Nerd Central Podcast. My name is Stazz, and I will be doing today's episode solo again. But don't worry, we will be having some more speakers along with me, hopefully soon. I really want to talk about some of this movie news, and I feel that it'd be a little bit better if I had some ideas to bounce off of instead of just me rambling about stuff. However, I think it'll be a good opportunity to at least answer a couple of questions that we actually got, all from Fat Guy, who is at the Podocalypse, who I will link their website in the chat below, and go check them out. They're really good stuff. They're really funny guys, just him and Junk, Fat Guy and Junk, and they're really good guys. Go check them out. I highly recommend them for anybody who likes hour long and that car is louder than hell, WTF. I really recommend go checking them out. They really do have some good stuff, and they do much longer videos or podcasts than what I can do at the moment. So if you're playing some games and you just want to listen to some just listen to something, go check them out. They're really, really good stuff. But the one question that I was asked by Fat Guy, let me pull it up here. So this is another video game question, and he did answer another one, but it's like a top 5 worst and top 5 best worst. I figured that would be a little bit better or a little bit more appropriate once I have somebody else or a couple other people to talk about. But I figured I can at least talk about this other question because it does warrant for some good thought. More or less, the question, I'm going to paraphrase it, is: do you play, or have you always been dictated about whenever you play games with controller or a mouse and keyboard? Do you feel that your hands get in the way of how you're playing? And he's talking about a whole range of controllers. You have the Nintendo controller, the first Nintendo one. Then you have Nintendo also, I guess you could say, revolutionized when you had the goofy ass N64 controller. That thing was weird. It was like a bunch of bananas stripped together with oats on it. But more or less, his question was: has your physical hand dimensions given to you by your parents limited or added to your gaming experience? And that's a very good question. For somebody like myself who's been playing video games since I've been a very young boy, that I've never had that problem of controllers being either too big, too small, and me not being able to play a game that I want to play. And now, I know people, and I know some friends that prefer certain other controllers, like the N60, or I'm sorry, the PS3 controller to the Xbox 360 controller, or let's say the generation before that, the PS2 controller or the original Xbox, and the first Xbox controller, I will say was one of the only controllers that I myself thought was basically playing with a brick, 2 bricks taped together, because that thing was huge. It was massive. I know it has a code name for it, but I don't remember it. But that controller was big. Like, you're talking about huge stuff. That's a really big and annoying controller. So now, but Fat Guy, brings up a really good question: is has this deterred you from playing games, or has this actually made you play games? So I'm a little bit past the arcade generation, and I know some older folk who really like playing games with a stick and buttons. So like the fight sticks for certain fighting games and things like that. A lot of people like playing that style of gameplay, and I never really liked that. Now my hand dimensions are somewhat large for my size. I don't have the Big Show style hands, and I'm not a really tall guy. I'm a short, stocky, kind of built like a dwarf, kind of a person. But I have fairly decent sized hands for my size. So I can grip most controllers no problem. I can hit buttons with my thumbs no problem. And I don't have any problems with my hands cramping. And I'm one of the lucky few that I don't have any problems with carpal tunnel. I know some people my age and a little bit younger and a little bit older than me, could have problems with carpal tunnel. But that's more or less a computer thing than it is more or less a gaming thing. But with me, though, I'm going to take this question, I'm going to kind of offshoot it. One of the best gaming experiences that I ever had was probably playing with the Xbox 360 controller. And by what the game was BioShock, the very first BioShock game. And what made that game so unique, and what really stuck to me was choosing to save the little girls or killing them. And to me, for some reason, that game really, really, stuck with me. Having that choice of, do I save, do I kill, do I maim, do I, let loose? And I will say that BioShock didn't change me as a person, but it really gave me a perspective that I could look at that I didn't necessarily want to be put in that kind of situation. Most of the time, you're talking to somebody, how would you survive on an island? Or would you, beat some burglar down if he tried to rob you? And, most of us like to think that, we're tough macho men, but, or macho women, or whatever the case may be. But, 9 times out of 10, you don't know unless you're put in that situation. And BioShock, granted, it's a horrific situation, but I found myself saving all the little girls, and that actually gave a better reward, actually, gameplay wise and game mechanics, than harvesting them. And that's a whole other subject about BioShock and their stories and stuff like that. But this also leaves another idea: is what will controllers look like in the future? And we're actually getting a little bit of a glimpse of that now. The perfect example is everything is slowly going into a tablet form. And by tablet, I mean using a touchscreen tablet or touchscreen surface to either play a game or, holy moly balls, what the fuck? Excuse my French. Either to play a game or to, I guess you could say, add or to add additional hours of gameplay with it. So the perfect example that I can think of is, oh crap, what the hell was it? Oh, I'm drawing a blank. There was oh man, what was it? I know it was, I believe it was a Halo game. Was it a Halo game? Oh, well, it was a recent game that came out, but it only had, or you could get extra. That's right. It was Dead Rising 3, the launch title for the 360. Was it launch title? Yeah, launch title. And there was a companion app that you can download, and you can play along, play the game, and then survivors would call you, so you can answer it on the app, and then it would relay information to the game, and then you could find survivors, and whatever the case may be. I really like that idea. The perfect example is when they demoed the Wii U, and they had Aliens Colonial Marine playing the game, and you had the motion tracker in the center of the tablet portion of the controller, and that was really, really cool. I can see more games using something like that, but then again, it also comes off as a novelty, and that might deter people from wanting to buy a system for it or buying a game for it just to use that one thing for it. And that's unfortunately what the Wii U's been. It's man, the Wii U. This makes me sad. If they only released the Wii U instead of the Wii, I think that Nintendo would be in a much better situation. But then again, this isn't about systems. It's about how you play your games. So another thing to also keep in mind, and to answer your question a little bit further, Fat Guy, is I'm a gamer that can easily go between controller use to mouse and keyboard. So I do play first-person shooters, the keyboard, and I do play point-and-click games also with the mouse and keyboard. There are certain games that you can't necessarily play mouse and click with, but, for example, Diablo, you can only play that mouse and keyboard. However, games that are Battlefield, Call of Duty, I have Wolfenstein, I actually do play mouse and keyboard. I do find that to be very enjoyable. However, games that are like platformers, like Assassin's Creed, Shadows of Mordor, which is awesome by the way, and like The Witcher. I'm just naming games off that I have on my desktop right now. Those games I've played with a keyboard. I don't like it, but I like the controller better. The controller gives me much more, I guess, finer detail or finer movement than a mouse and keyboard. Then again, the mouse will actually give you very finite detail if you calibrate it to that settings. However, I find those games much more enjoyable with a controller. Now, the thing that some people have issues with is going from a controller to a keyboard or vice versa. I know somebody who prefers mouse and keyboard to everything, and whenever he plays a online match of Call of Duty, he sucks because he is using a controller. Now, granted, there might be a learning period between the two or going between the two, but it's something that I have no problem with. But there are people that do, and people have preferences, and that's more than welcome to. So, but to answer your question, Fat Guy, my personal experiences and just friends around me is that we and myself have no problem and haven't had any problems playing video games because of our hand and eye coordination or our hand size or anything like that. Now, I will say that with certain tablets and smartphones, because everything is now touchscreen, I do have issues with some touchscreen stuff. I don't play touchscreen video games. I don't play on the Androids or anything like that. I don't play Clash of Clans, whatever that hoopla is. But I do, text and stuff like that. And, I do have fat fingers, fat thumbs, I should say. And I do hit some of the wrong texts, buttons, and stuff like that. And that, that's something that can easily be corrected. But it's nothing that's deterred me from, smartphones are, the devil's tool. No, nothing like that. But no, I play every game. I try to play as much games as I can. I enjoy a lot, and that hasn't deterred me because of my hand size or anything like that. Not saying that you have funny hand size, but or people who do, or people who can't use their hands. But there's always a different medium of playing games, and you just got to find whatever you like. Even if it's good old tabletop games like Dungeons and Dragons or Jenga, whatever you want to play. I think it's part of the human condition, the human psyche, that you have to entertain yourself somehow. So, and then, even though I did mention that, we do have another question about what's your top 5 worst games and what's your top 5 worst to bad games, meaning that a game that was so bad you actually enjoyed it. I'm actually going to answer this a little differently, and I'm going to say what is considered one of my worst games ever that I've played, and what's one of my best games I've ever played. So, I'm going to start with the best, and I'm going to kind of cheat a little bit and say that I don't really have a favorite or all-time best game. I am a kind of person, and this involves movies as well, that I will play a game no matter how bad it is, as long as I can enjoy something out of it. Perfect example is those movie tie-in games. So like the original Lord of the Rings tie-in games. What else was there? Fantastic Four for the Xbox 360. That was pretty bad, but those style of games may be really bad. The gameplay may be kind of crappy. Or another perfect example is the Iron Man 1 and 2. Those games are really bad. And the thing with that is I still enjoy something about them. Even if it's the rudimentary gameplay or the graphics or the cutscenes, if it's something that I can enjoy out of it, I won't consider that as a bad game. However, I do have one, and I will talk about that. But probably one of my all-time favorite games or game series is probably the Elder Scrolls series. I really, really, really love Elder Scrolls Skyrim. I played hundreds of hours into that, and it's one of my. And I will actually go back to that game. I will uninstall it from my computer, and then a couple weeks or a couple months later, I will reinstall it back to play some more out of it, or I'll try and play differently. And that's one of those style of games that, even though the main story is somewhat short, there's so much to do. There's so many side quests, so many backstory, missions or whatever the case may be. Hell, even if you want to go look for cheese wheels in, the next town 3 miles over the mountain, you could do that because, what the hell, why not? So that probably Elder Scrolls is one of my top favorite. I would probably also say some of the Star Wars games, Knights of the Old Republic. The first one, even though I did really like the second one, going back to it, the first one was much better. It was a much better constructed game. The Mass Effect series, anything from BioWare really has been really good. Even the MMOs, the Old Republic, I really, really enjoy that. That's a game that I will be going back to when the new expansion comes out with Revan. Ooh, Revan's so good. What else is there? I mean, I like anything. I'm really enjoying the hell out of this Middle-earth Shadows of Mordor. Really liking that. The Alien vs. Predator games. Those are games that I will also go back to and play. Even the old 2004 Alien vs. Predator 2, which it's a little out of date if you can get it running on your computer, but I will play that to hell. I will fight tooth and nail to find some way to play that game. Even the remake one, even though it's not as good as the Alien vs. Predator 2, it's still really good. Now, with that in mind, even though I'm pretty much a forgiver of bad games, like, okay, I can see where they're going, blah, blah, blah. There is one game that I will literally not play. I will tell people to throw it into a fire, watch it burn, because it's more entertaining than playing the game, is the Aliens Colonial Marines game. I was so looking forward to that game, and then I played it, and that joy, that boyhood joy of, opening up a present, like, oh my god, I got what I wanted, was just sucked out from me from a stupid, horrible game. And by stupid and horrible, I mean, it's not because there was dumb dialogue or plot holes in the story. It was, gameplay-wise, very bad. Movement was horrible. Shooting was bad. I was running around, literally, I was playing the game with a shotgun and sniping with it. Like, you're not supposed to do that. I don't care who the hell you are. And you can't, you can't, the Terminator can't even do that. Alright? The enemy AI was really bad. The story didn't make any goddamn sense, and there was a bait and switch because they actually showed a demo level of Aliens Colonial Marines a couple of Electronic Expos ago, E3, a couple of E3s ago, and I believe they might have been sued, or they're still being processed of being sued for a false advertisement, because that was a big old pile of dookie duke. Like, I would rather eat shit than play that game ever again. But that's just a very, very, very small, rudimentary answer. Well, I guess it's not rudimentary because I did explain a lot of stuff. But anyway, I digress. Hopefully we can get maybe a couple more added to the list. But I will definitely say that the worst game of all is Alien Colonial Marines. And then, you know what? We'll maybe add another episode or two. We'll add one more to it, or maybe we'll talk about another great game series as well, because I think that's always fun to talk about. Comparing, what you think is good, what I think is good, or what you think, what I think. Hearing about, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to call it. We're starting to get a little long. I don't want to get too long in this. So thank you again. And this was actually given. These questions were actually posted on our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Nerd Central Cosplay. And you can just like us there, right? Send us a message or comment on our YouTube channel. And we'll do our best to either get back to you or answer your question if you have anything to ask about. And also just a little tidbit, movie news. insane with DC and Marvel. I will be talking. I want to get a couple of our other of our guys to talk about the DC announcement and the Marvel rumor. Only a rumor as of now. I must preface that. So I don't want to talk too much about that, but look forward to seeing that within the next, hopefully, couple of days, if not soon. And I will leave you for your thoughts. So, thank you for listening to Nerd Central Cosplay, or NCP, and this was hosted by Stazz, and have a good day. Ugh.